we have audio? No.
I left my bag with us from
Suck that. Suck that.
He has the
You want to place this on too? I know. I know. This is a
How are you? Just Gary.
Good to see you. We'll figure it out. Once
Julian.
Move this over a little. Okay, I think we have everyone. I'm trying to, okay, can everyone have enough breathing room and everything? You can tell how much our community rallies in Boston and across the region when our residents are at risk. And first of all, I just want to thank each and every partner who is standing with us here today, the ones who couldn't be here physically but who have been standing with us, and thank you for all that you do in every way across your communities and across every neighborhood of Boston. So thank you, everyone. As you can tell, I am joined here today by a wide-ranging group of elected officials, community partners, civic leaders, and so many who are fighting every day to make sure that our residents and our constituents have what they need. You will hear shortly from some of them, and I want to, again, just thank and recognize, I'm trying to decide in my head if I can try to recognize everyone. It's a lot. Let me just read through who will be speaking, and then I'm going to try to fill in some of the gaps as well. So we are joined here today by Lee Pelton, who is President and CEO of the Boston Foundation, Jose Masso, the Chief of Human Services for the City of Boston, Superintendent Mary Skipper of the Boston Public Schools, Executive Director of the Boston Public Health Commission, Dr. Basola Ojikutu. Okay, so speaking of Tony, I also want to give a shout out before I finish the rest of my list. I am thankful every day for the community that we live in so many ways, that we come together in times of need, when there are cameras, and also when there are no cameras at all. Tony Brewer is someone who has served our Commonwealth, our city, in just about every facet for I don't know how many decades at this point. And Tony is here, by the grace of God, as an example of what it means when people come together, when people give, and when our health system does what it does. Tony is just fairly recently home from having a heart transplant, and we're so thankful that you're here. So thank you for always showing up for everyone. We're also joined by David Shapiro, CEO of the YMCA of Greater Boston, Cheryl Shondek, COO of the Greater Boston Food Bank, and could any of the community partner organizations who didn't get a shout out just shout yourself out now?
Women's lunch place. Women's lunch place.
Okay.
ABCD. Catholic Charities Boston. JBS Boston.
Great. Okay. Thank you. St. Francis House. Thank you. And we're also joined by a number of our elected officials from all across the region. We are here with Senator Ed Markey. Thank you for all your leadership. City Council President, Boston City Council President Ritzy Lijen. Boston City Councilors Enrique Pepin, Sharon Durkin, Henry Santana, Gabriela Coletta Zapata, Liz Braden, Aaron Murphy, John Fitzgerald, Ben Weber, Senator Liz Miranda, Representative Sam Montano, Cambridge City Manager Ian Huang, Brookline Town Administrator Chaz Carey, Chelsea Town Manager Fidel Maltes, Somerville Mayor Katiana Ballantyne. Did I miss? Which?
City Councilor.
Okay, could anyone who I missed? I'm so sorry.
Siddiqui, City, and Aisha Wilson.
And Councilor Sabrina Wheeler from Cambridge.
Thank you so much. So we are all here. We're here to share information on resources for our residents at a time of intense and entirely preventable need. The President of the United States is using hunger as a political tool. And with SNAP benefits set to expire tomorrow, Donald Trump's lawyers came to Boston yesterday to block $5 billion in emergency food aid. We are eagerly awaiting what might happen in the courts and hope that the law will be upheld. But in the meantime, we are preparing for every scenario. I'm standing here with leaders from the City of Boston, but as you just heard, from all across the region to share information about what each of our communities is doing to step in and prepare at this time. In Boston, we know that it's 140,000 Boston residents who could lose vital food benefits starting Saturday. Benefits that also contribute $30 million per month to our small businesses and grocery stores. And so we are gathered here from across the region because we will never back down from fulfilling the promise of the America our cities have fought to create. In our city, food isn't a bargaining chip. It's a human right. And even before this current SNAP crisis, too many residents were already struggling to afford the essentials. So today, we are announcing a new partnership to provide some relief for impacted residents and a citywide outreach effort to ensure all of our residents have every possible resource to afford food and basic necessities. First, I'm so grateful that the Boston Foundation has taken the lead in joining with the City of Boston to launch a fund for emergency supports to help impacted residents pay for groceries and other basic needs. Together with Lee Pelton and his team at our community foundation, the Boston Foundation, this effort has been seeded with an initial $1 million commitment. And we invite our partners from across the city to join with us. This moment calls for all of us, government, nonprofits, individuals, philanthropy, and business, to come together for our community. We know we can't close the entire gap, but we will do everything in our power to get support to folks who need it. The majority of Boston SNAP recipients are seniors, people with disabilities, and families with children. So we'll be partnering with organizations who know these communities best, like Age Strong, the Boston Housing Authority, our Disabilities Commission, Boston Public Schools, the YMCA, and others. Secondly, because we know that food is just one of the items in the household budget that can make it difficult for ends to meet, we're getting all hands on deck to ensure that our residents have information on how they can access every possible support. We'll be connecting residents to food resources at our 16 remaining Medicare open enrollment events throughout the city. Boston Public Schools and the Boston Housing Authority will be sharing information through their automated text and phone call systems. Our small business liaisons are flyering grocery stores and convenience stores. Our city neighborhood liaisons are holding 22 coffee hours across the city at 5 p.m. on Monday for more information for residents in person. And we've trained our 311 staff to share resources on all the ways residents can be eligible for supports: housing, utility bills, food, and more. We're also partnering with all of the groups in this room and beyond to make sure that impacted residents are connected to the support they need. So thank you to ABCD, the Immigrant Family Services Institute, IFSI, Catholic Charities, Women's Lunch Place, the Greater Boston Food Bank, MAPC, the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, Project Bread, and more for answering the call. St. Francis House, I forgot the others already, and more for answering the call. Thank you also to Governor Healy and the United Way for mobilizing resources across the Commonwealth. If you need assistance with groceries or paying bills, or if you're looking to donate, please visit boston.gov/SNAP or dial 311 to get connected. Please remember, if you have any SNAP funds left over from this month, you can still use your EBT card. If you have a balance of at least 1 cent on your card, your HIP benefits are still available to lower the cost of fruits and veggies. And BPS students and families can still get free breakfast and lunch through BPS Eats. We're here today as part of the legacy of leaders in our region stepping up in times of difficulty and stepping up no matter who we have to step up against. From the Black leaders who set up some of the world's first mutual aid networks right here in Boston in the 18th century, to our incredible partners on the ground doing the work in our communities today. From residents checking on their neighbors during the pandemic, to faith groups delivering groceries through nor'easters, we have always been a city that supported each other when times get hard. In Boston, everybody eats. So while the federal administration walks away from their responsibilities, we are stepping in. Not because it's easy, but because Boston is a home for everyone. And that means we take care of everyone. Okay, otra vez en español, and then I'm going to pass it on. Buenos días. El presidente de los Estados Unidos está usando el hambre como herramienta política. A partir de mañana, 140,000 residentes de Boston podrían perder sus beneficios de SNAP, beneficios que representan $30 millones para nuestros pequeños negocios y supermercados también. En nuestra ciudad, la comida no es una ficha de negociación, es un derecho humano. Y aún antes de esta crisis de SNAP, ya sabíamos que demasiados de nuestros residentes de Boston estaban luchando por pagar lo esencial. Por eso, hoy anunció que la ciudad de Boston y el Boston Foundation estamos lanzando un fondo para ayudar a los residentes a pagar por alimentos y otras necesidades básicas. Junto con el señor Lee Pelton y su equipo en nuestra fundación comunitaria, hemos puesto un compromiso inicial de $1 millón para comenzar este esfuerzo. Y estamos invitando a nuestros socios a unirse para hacer que este fondo crezca. Este momento nos llama a todos, del gobierno, organizaciones sin fines de lucro, individuos con recursos, filantropía y negocios, a unirnos por nuestra comunidad. Si necesitas ayuda para comprar comida o pagar tus cuentas, o si quieres donar, visita boston.gov/SNAP o marca a 311 para recibir asistencia. Y recuerda, si todavía tienes fondos de SNAP este mes, puedes seguir usando tu tarjeta. Si tienes al menos un centavo en tu tarjeta, tus beneficios de HIP siguen disponibles para reducir el costo de frutas y verduras. Y los estudiantes y familias de las escuelas públicas de Boston todavía pueden seguir recibiendo desayuno y almuerzo gratis a través del programa BPS Eats en las escuelas. En Boston todos comemos. Así que mientras el gobierno federal se aleja de sus responsabilidades, nosotros damos un paso al frente. No porque sea fácil, sino porque Boston es un hogar para todos. Y eso significa que nos cuidamos unos a otros. So, time and again, Lee Pelton and the Boston Foundation step up for residents in need. In July, after Republicans in Congress passed the SNAP cuts, TBF created the Sustaining Families Fund and raised $2 million to fight food insecurity. On behalf of our city, thank you so much to Lee and to everyone who supports the Boston Foundation. We're so grateful for all that you do. And if everyone could just kick it to the next person listed on this list, then I won't have to come up.
Will do. Dear Mayor, if you would allow me, the Boston Foundation could buy you a new lectern here. So. There you go. With a little wider berth here. Well, it's a true measure of a great government is how it ministers to the neediest among us, especially during a time of crisis and conflict. So the many citizens of this great city, thank you, Mayor Wu, for your courageous and bold leadership. It has made and will continue to make a real difference in our city. Starting tomorrow, unless there is a federal judicial ruling to the contrary, thousands of Massachusetts families, including children and seniors and individuals already struggling to make ends meet, will lose access to their supplemental nutritional assistance program. The cutoff threatens to deepen a growing hunger across the nation and closer to home. And the federal government's failure to adequately fund the SNAP program is more than a policy lapse. It is a moral failure that has left thousands of Boston families struggling to put food on the table. Roughly 1 in 8 people in the United States receive food stamps, which averages to about $187 a month. And 1 in 5 households in Boston already experience food insecurity. And when federal aid is cut, the impact lands hardest on children, on seniors, and working families who have already stretched thin by the cost of living. As a U.S. State Attorney General recently said, SNAP is one of our nation's most effective tools to fight hunger, and the USDA has the money to keep it running. There is no excuse for this administration to abandon families who rely on SNAP or food stamps as a lifeline. The decision by the federal government not to release funds for SNAP and other food programs has put the health of more than 1 million people in this state at risk. It will require all of us to live up to our shared responsibility to care for and support our neighbors, especially children, in this time of critical need. To date, the Boston Foundation and our generous donor-advised community have donated more than $2 million to the Greater Boston Food Bank, to food pantries, and other food distribution organizations to alleviate hunger and anxiety in Greater Boston. And I'm happy to announce we sent out another appeal yesterday, and overnight we received another $750,000. And believe me, that's just the beginning. That's not the end. And yet there is much more good work to do. We recently launched our Meeting the Moment Sustaining Families initiative, as you heard, with a commitment across our foundation and with our partnerships with our donors, with nonprofit leaders and organizations and civic leaders at the local, regional, and state levels. Our aim is simply this: to ensure that every person in our city and in our region is able to access quality food as part of our broader efforts to meet this moment and to defend the rights, health, and well-being of everyone who calls Massachusetts home. And beginning yesterday, as I said, we reached out to the Boston Foundation's donor advised community with an appeal for each of them to provide much-needed additional aid so we could move forward. So I want to say, Mayor, thank you very much for leading the way, as you always do, in a time of crisis. And in doing so, you're able to shine a bright light on what true leadership looks like. So all of us greet you with much gratitude and appreciation. Oh, it's Jose. Where are you? Sorry, Jose. There you are. Good to see you, my man.
Thank you for this. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. As mentioned, my name is Jose Masso. I have the pleasure of serving as Chief of Human Services here for the City of Boston. I'm glad to be here today with friends and partners in the human services space who we turn to for support when things are difficult. Every day, the frontline teams in the Human Services Cabinet connect Boston residents to programs and services that keep their households going. At this very moment, an age-strong advocate is helping an older adult through Medicare open enrollment. A branch librarian is helping someone complete a job application. A veterans benefits specialist is helping an Army widow navigate the VA system. Our teams are there to help everyone every day. I know that a lot of our advocates are worried for the residents and families they serve, anticipating this sudden loss of benefits. And I know that residents are worried too about how to make the rent or mortgage payment at a time when vital benefits are being ripped away from them. I hope that this show of support today and in the days to come will help families feel less alone, that it will remind them that in Boston, we are a community that steps up to support each other during hard times. Just the other day, I had an opportunity to read to a first grade class at Up Academy, Holland School in Dorchester. While reading, a student interrupted me to ask if I was paid to do my job. If so, how much did I make? Was it $1 billion? Am I rich? Because according to him, I looked rich. And at that time, I reflected on when I was roughly the same age and asked my father a similar question. My father's response took me by surprise when he informed me that we were in fact rich, but it had nothing to do with our financial status. He explained that we were rich because we had a home that kept us safe and warm, a comfortable bed to sleep in at night, clothes on our back, shoes on our feet, family and friends who loved and cared about us, and food available at our disposal. He explained at that time what I wish I was able to tell the student in a similar definition, but our current reality and what many of our children and families are facing made me have to modify my definition. I was only able to share what I was able to see, that they had clothes on their back that kept them warm, and because they were in a Boston Public School classroom, they had adults in their lives who care for them and believe in them. The challenges we face are massive, and our efforts can often feel incomplete. Yet I'm confident with our partnerships, we can work together to make sure that folks can get through another day. David Shapiro at the YMCA, Sharon at ABCD Boston, Kelly at Catholic Charities, Eliza Wassman at Office of Food Justice, and so many others who are behind us and in front of us as well. We know we can always count on you and your teams to roll up our sleeves when we need you the most. Our teams throughout the city of Boston are committed to supporting residents through this challenging time, and we will continue to collaborate with our partners in this room to meet residents where they are. So the next time I'm able to read to a room of first graders and that question possibly gets asked, I can confidently answer that we are all rich. Thank you so much for your commitment and for keeping up the fight. Thank you all. In beautiful transitions to schools, I have the honor to introduce Superintendent Mary Skipper. Thank
you. Good morning, everyone. I just want to be clear that we have 70% of our families in the BPS who are touched by state aid, with a large amount through SNAP and Medicaid. And what's being proposed, if in fact becomes a reality, is catastrophic for our families and for our kids. I want to first, for the families that are watching, just reaffirm BPS is your home. It is the place that your children come and spend so many of their waking hours. And we will be there for you with our city partners, with our foundations, with all of the state agencies that are here to make sure that children can in fact eat and be warm and be served when they're with us. Our food and nutrition services, and this is important for our families, please remind students, and we will do this as staff too, to make sure that you eat a healthy breakfast and lunch at school. Through BPS Eats, every student in the Boston Public Schools is afforded that hot, cold meal, vegetables, fruits, healthy food. And so it's going to be very important in the impending days that every student takes advantage of that. So please, as families, have that conversation and remind, and we will as well. Additionally, we have 64 sites that serve after-school meals, which sometimes families are not aware of. We will be putting this all out through our social media, as we normally do, through our website, through the city site, but 64 sites will also afford opportunity for afternoon meals, and we would encourage families to take advantage of that. Our student support department runs weekend programming, and so this Sunday at Madison Park, there's about 400 families with students registered to attend those programs. Through the partnership of ABCD, YMCA, we will be ensuring that there is shelf-stable food there so that families can take advantage of that. And again, that's Madison Park, and it'll be for the 400 families who are already registered as part of those programs. Additionally, next week, on Saturday and Sunday, we'll be opening up additional sites with Henderson, with New Mission, with Brighton High. And so there'll be more information to come on that. We have a helpline, 617-635-8873, which many of our families, 40,000 families, use that helpline. Please, if you have any questions, you can call there. It will be staffed throughout the weekend, and we will put you in touch with city services, with the city hotline and helpline as well as some of our partner food banks. We have 11 sites so far, and I expect this to grow in the days to come. 11 sites where our schools, through PTA work, through school site council work, are working with local food banks to do donations of food. I would expect every Boston Public School will eventually be able to do that, but we will have updates on which sites those are in the coming days. But there are at least 11 that beginning Monday will start those food drives to be able to help stock appropriately the food banks. Additionally, we have stood up, and we will be working closely with the city, an emergency food council. This is really going to be cross-departmental so that we can bring to bear every resource we have in the Boston Public Schools for this. I will just end by saying that in the pandemic, we saw how important our schools were and cities were in providing food to our families. That's when food insecurity really became at a height visible. This is not a pandemic. This is a self-created crisis. And it is so unfair to our children and the families that will wake up tomorrow morning as parents having no idea how they're going to feed their children. I hope that we can get beyond this, but I thank God that we're in a city with our mayor who has had the vision to bring us all together to get through it. Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce our Executive Director of BPHC, Dr. Basola Ajikutu.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Basola Ajikutu. I'm the Commissioner of Public Health for the City of Boston, and I'm honored to be here. I wanted to start by, again, I know everyone has done this, but thank you, Mayor Wu, for your quick and decisive and visionary leadership. This is how you address a crisis. I also want to thank all of our partners who are here for helping to mitigate the challenges that we are facing and to make it very clear that here in Boston we prioritize health and wellness, and we're creating a city where everyone can live long and well. You know, people often say that Boston is a resource-rich but collaboration-poor city. I'm proud to say that with this initiative, we are demonstrating that we are not only rich in resources, we are also rich with partnerships and rich with collaboration and rich with community. And together, with this bold and direct action, we will prevent families across Boston from experiencing hunger, and will also promote health and wellness. Because access to nutritious food directly impacts how long people live and their quality of life. Lack of access to affordable and nutritious food is directly associated with diet-related diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, and some cancers. And though it hasn't been mentioned yet, in addition to physical health, food insecurity is a social determinant of mental health. Hunger increases stress levels, it impacts emotional stability, it undermines our cognitive function, and leads to poor overall mental health and well-being. I would be remiss if I did not emphasize that this is a health equity issue. Now, you've heard a lot about our elderly and the young amongst us, those who are disabled. But we shouldn't forget that over half of Boston SNAP beneficiaries live in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, and Hyde Park. Loss of SNAP benefits will disproportionately impact residents who are already disproportionately impacted by chronic disease. Though we are here to discuss this urgent and immediate crisis, it is important to acknowledge that the problem of food insecurity in Boston did not begin today, did not start on November 1st, will not start on November 1st. Even with SNAP benefits in place, food insecurity has been an ongoing issue in our city. According to Boston's 2025 Community Health Needs Assessment, which included 2,000 Boston residents, nearly 19% of adults reported that the food they bought did not last, and they didn't have money to get more. In that same survey, rates of food insecurity were notably highest amongst Latinx residents. 30% of Latinx respondents reported being hungry, but not eating because they couldn't afford to do so. And when respondents were asked, how can Boston improve quality of life? The second most common response was increasing access to fresh, affordable food. Throughout our city and at the Boston Public Health Commission, we've always prioritized food access. That's why you see so many partners here. For decades, at the Boston Public Health Commission, we've maintained Shirley's Pantry in Mattapan, which serves more than 8,000 families per year. Our longest standing program, Healthy Baby, Healthy Child, it's about 30 years in duration, cares for 1,100 families per year and provides access to healthy meals. And 365 days of the year, we provide 3 meals per day to more than 600 men and women at our 2 shelters. We don't turn anyone away. And what we've noticed most recently is that people aren't necessarily going there to sleep, they're going there to eat. And in the midst of this crisis, we are fortifying these programs, we're adding more resources, and I'm so proud that as a city, as a Boston community, we are strengthening our work to meet the immediate food security needs of residents. But ultimately, action at the federal level is needed to restore the SNAP benefits that our neighbors rely upon. And our mayor and all of us, we are demanding that action. As the mayor mentioned, those with questions regarding food access, there's more info at boston.gov/SNAP. Also, please call 311. Thank you again, Mayor Wu, and all of our partners for making this program possible. And I'll turn it over to David Shapiro.
Well, good afternoon. It's a privilege to be up here, and I'll try to be quick because so much has already been said. Unbelievably grateful to our city leadership, to our mayor, to our city council. To our administration for pulling us together in this moment. But I would actually just sort of make 2 points, and one of them would be that it's really not about this moment. It's really about everything that came before this moment. It's about having a world-class food bank that people have invested in that is so important to the food system. It's about things like the City Council and the Mayor and MGB passing funding to invest in a food recovery hub that the Y and a lot of collaborative partners run in Roxbury that allows us to basically recover more food in the city and reduce waste. And this moment will mean more now than ever. It's about our mobile markets and all of the SNAP outreach partners that are here. There's 12 of them in the city that will be a key instrument of education on the ground. And it's about the sanctuaries that we have in this city for people like our 9Ys and like so many other places like the Women's Lunch Place and St. Francis that provide sanctuary and information for people to take away some of this stress, empower them with information as well and resources for their families. So I'm grateful for everyone who has had the vision to invest in the infrastructure that allows us across sectors to come together, both today, before today, after today, and in times of crisis that are man-made and other times. The only other two things I'd say is that we, and I hope I can speak on behalf of my nonprofit brethren, are completely devoted to both proximity and distribution with dignity. We are not going to make people's lives that are already hard and that have been torn asunder by everything from unfair immigration regulations to economic insecurity to uncertainty about laws, make it harder for them to get the support they need. So we plan to take the point of service like Wise and other places where folks already are at and make their lives a little bit easier in the face of insurmountable things by giving out gift cards and other support and information. So proximity, dignity, being in the places where people are at, not making them ask, being there for them. And then finally, I would just say, and I think it is exemplified by what the Boston Foundation is doing and what's happened overnight, is that we are getting just as many calls at the Y from people who need help as people who want to help. And if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about a city that I know you talk about so brilliantly and eloquently, but a city that we all love, that's a city for all of us, I don't know what else does. And so we've created kind of two places on the Y website, want to help, need help, and some of those people, a lot of those people are the same people. We're all just neighbors. So incredibly grateful. I would invite up Cheryl Shondek, COO of the Greater Boston Food Bank. Thanks so much.
Thank you, David, and thank you, everyone, and thank you, Mayor, for calling us all together today, because we know that it is going to be a challenging month ahead for our neighbors, our retailers, our community organizations. But you've heard this already. Food insecurity was already a crisis before the government shutdown. According to our most recent data, a food access study that we just conducted, we know that in the city of Boston, 1 in 3 residents is food insecure. Let me repeat that, 1 in 3. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. The same study found that 80% of people on SNAP in Massachusetts are visiting a food pantry because the SNAP benefits don't meet their needs. The Greater Boston Food Bank has over 600 partner agencies in 190 cities and towns, and many are here with us today. 100 of which are right here in the city of Boston. And they are telling us, which is what you've already heard, that the lines are double, are triple. More and more people are going to food pantries in anticipation of losing their benefits tomorrow. Unacceptable. Many of those clients are coming to a food pantry for the first time. There is no way that our collaborative, charitable food network will be able to meet this gap. So we all need to do something, and that's why you're here today, listening and learning about what we are doing as a team. Here's how you can help. Volunteer, host a food drive, donate funds to your local pantry, to the Greater Boston Food Bank, or to someone who needs support. We know that philanthropy alone, and another shout out to the Boston Foundation, cannot solve hunger. but together we can make a positive impact in those that will wake up tomorrow and lose their SNAP benefits. If you know someone, or you are experiencing food insecurity, or you need help, please go to our website, www.gbfb.org/needfood. A lot of what you've heard today, expanded distributions, expanded hours, more direct deliveries of fresh produce, are going out to many of our partners, especially those in the city of Boston. We are extremely grateful to Mayor Wu and the city's support every day, but especially today in this time of uncertainty. We heard you so eloquently say, and we agree, that food is a basic human right. Hunger is a nonpartisan issue, and the team at the Greater Boston Food Bank will be here with you every day for our neighbors in need until hunger no longer exists. Thank you. And I have the pleasure to introduce Senator Markey.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Wu, for gathering us here today. Thank you for your leadership in spearheading this movement to deal with this emergency. Thank you to the Greater Boston Foundation, to the Greater Boston Food Bank, to the YMCA of Greater Boston. Thank you to everyone who is here, who is responding to this crisis. Tomorrow is November 1st. That is the day when SNAP benefits stop being added to the EBT cards for more than 41 million Americans, including 1.1 million people in the state of Massachusetts. We're a population of 7 million people. 1.1 million of them tomorrow will begin to be harmed in terms of their ability to provide for their families. And it is because the Republicans refuse to act. I am angry that the Republican House members continue to be on vacation for the last 5 weeks and not come back to Washington to solve this problem. I am angry that Donald Trump and his administration refuse to spend the $5.5 billion in emergency funding, which Congress set aside for emergencies like this. I am angry on behalf of all of the people in our state who are about to suffer because of an avoidable crisis being created by Donald Trump in order to cut health care, to cut food programs, to cut Head Start, to cut all of these programs that work for the poorest and the working families in our country. The ancient Greek philosopher once asked, when would we know true justice? And his answer was, we will know true justice when those who have not been harmed are as angry as those who have been harmed. And we are angry today because those who are most vulnerable are the ones who are going to be harmed. This program was created because farmers wanted subsidies for soybeans and corn for their farms. And we said from the cities, if you're going to subsidize the growing of food, we want to subsidize the poorest in our country who need to eat that food to survive. That's where this program comes from. And that is what is being violated today. That agreement that those who are most needy will have access to this food which is being grown. We are the richest nation in the world. We do not have a food shortage in the United States of America right now. We have a food distribution problem to ensure that those who are most in need will receive it. The federal district court judge here in Boston conducted a hearing, and her preliminary The conclusion was that it's illegal what Donald Trump is doing, that he has a responsibility to distribute the $5.5 billion to make sure that all of these great food banks, nonprofits are able to have the help they need in order to take care of the citizens here in our Commonwealth. Some of those families are already having to ration what's left on their cards because they fear nothing is coming tomorrow. It is the same day that they have to pay their rent, November 1st. Maybe the same day they have to pay their electricity bill or refill grandma's prescription. November 1st, November 1st, November 1st. This is an emergency that is about to hit them. In the richest country in the world, when CEOs get $1 trillion in tax breaks, Trump and his MAGA buddies in Washington are allowed babies to go hungry. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. Billionaires keep their tax breaks and babies go hungry in our country. He just found $40 billion under the seat cushions to bail out Argentina, but he won't use the money. The federal government already has set aside for SNAP to feed struggling families. It is a national disgrace. In Massachusetts and across this country, beginning tomorrow, families are going to struggle to put food on their tables. In Boston, that's 1 in 5, as the mayor said. 140,000 people out of 700,000 people tomorrow in Boston will begin to struggle to put food on their tables. 1 in 3 SNAP recipients in Massachusetts is a child. 1 child left hungry is unacceptable. We are going to have, across our state, 352,000 children who will not have food on their table. That is immoral. That begins tomorrow. And it's not just in Boston, it's Springfield, Holyoke, Lawrence. Nearly half of all residents in those communities rely upon SNAP. Half. And my office has received calls from residents worried sick about benefits expiring, and that includes a woman in Sterling with a disability who told us, I'm grateful for everything that I have, but I'm terrified of what's going to happen to my ability to eat. Another call came from a constituent in Arlington whose daughter with a disability is only able to make ends meet with SNAP. And there's no reason why a baby should have to cry because that baby does not have access to the food which he or she needs. There's no reason a mother or father should have to experience the heartbreak of watching their daughter or son struggle to focus on the need to put a hot meal on the table. SNAP has kept more than 3 million people out of poverty in the United States just in 2021, with more than 2/3 of those people from communities of color. This disproportionately affects black and brown people in our state, in Boston, and across our country. Disproportionately, 2/3 of those who benefit come from the black and brown community. And the value of a SNAP benefit, $6 a day. That's all we are talking about. That is Donald Trump's America today. Trillions in tax breaks for billionaires are not $6 for someone to be able to buy enough food to make it through a day. So this moment isn't just an economic failure. It isn't just a civic failure. This is a moral failure of the Trump administration and the MAGA Republicans who refuse to come back to Washington. Right now, they are in a political witness protection program, hiding around America, refusing to come to Washington so that we can solve this problem of hunger that is about to hit 42 million Americans. The president could choose to end this crisis, so I'm calling on President Trump to release these funds, release them immediately. He has $5.5 billion that has been set aside for this very purpose, an emergency. In hunger in our country. He can do it right now. And I urge my Republican colleagues, return to Washington. stop running from your responsibilities to fund not just SNAP, but healthcare and Head Start and all of the other poverty programs that are about to have drastic cuts to them that disproportionately impact the poorest in our society. So this is a manufactured crisis Trump created, and he can solve it. Otherwise, it is his responsibility. It is Donald Trump's responsibility for the harm that is going to be done. And we have to raise our voices on behalf of those who are going to be harmed. And that's what Mayor Wu is doing. That's what everyone here is doing to make sure they get the protection which they need. Now let me turn to introduce City Council President Rusi Louis-Jean. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. It's good to be with everyone. Thank you, Mayor Wu, for this clarion call. It is Halloween. We should be getting ready for trick-or-treaters, but instead, we have an American president who is trying to trick us into believing that we can't care for the neediest among us. Never before has a president allowed this to happen. This is unprecedented. He has once again confirmed that his priority is not the American people. He believes that those who have should have more, and those who are struggling should struggle more. Try to make it make sense. It doesn't. This decision, as everyone has said before, deepens inequality and pushes hardworking families to the brink. They're already struggling to buy eggs, to buy groceries, and basic necessities. And try as we might, as we are doing here, the mayor, the Boston Foundation, YMCA, Women's Lunch Place, ABCD, the Greater Boston Food Bank, so many of our partners here doing the work of combating poverty and combating hunger, we cannot fill in the gap of the federal government. They have the funds, they have the ability, they have the precedent to do this, but President Trump is deciding not to. It's despicable. While he builds a ballroom, millions of Americans are wondering how they'll put food on their table. That is not the America that I want for today or for the generations to come. He is putting our families directly in harm's way. Our disabled neighbors, our working families, our working poor, our veterans. The role of government should be to ease the stress of everyday life, not to add to it. The Trump administration continues time and time again to serve platters of chaos, of stress, and of harm. It's a let them eat cake attitude that the American people do not deserve. During the pandemic, and I saw her here earlier, State Senator Miranda, before I was an elected official, she posted about food distribution happening in Dorchester at the Guildworks. And I started volunteering with the Guildworks, delivering food across the city to people who needed it. And I just want everyone to disabuse whatever you think about what hunger looks like, whoever you think it affects all of us, every single zip code, all across the city, black or white, young and old. This is a real serious issue that we're dealing with that, again, as everyone has stated, is manufactured, is man-made, and is avoidable. Every family deserves the dignity of a full fridge and a fair chance. I want to again thank the mayor and all of our colleagues. I see Eliza Wasserman from Office of Food Justice, everyone who is here thinking about how we solve the issue of food insecurity. It has also been said that we are in a city and in a country of abundance. Yet we operate off of a scarcity, zero-sum mindset. It is a false choice that we have to reject. And we have to reject this trick that the president is trying to play on us right now. We can care for everyone. We can fill in this SNAP gap even during a federal shutdown because it has happened before. I want to thank my colleagues who have stood firm in condemning these actions. Councilor Kalazapata, Councilor Durkin, myself introduced a resolution this week condemning these actions, voted on and passed unanimously by my colleagues who are here in this room, as we stand committed and firm in addressing the issues of food insecurity. To address the growing food insecurity caused by these cuts, we are going to have to dig deeper into our reservoir of compassion, into our bank accounts, into our city resources, to make sure that we're caring for everyone. Also on the City Council, we're exploring what we can do to support our nonprofit grocers like Dorchester Food Co-op, thinking about what other models exist, cities directly supporting supermarkets through city-owned grocery stores. This is the work that we were doing prior to the shutdown, that we're going to have to be even more serious, put 10 toes down, making sure that our residents from Roxbury to East Boston, from Charlestown to West Roxbury have what they need to succeed. That is the role of government. How are we helping people? Anything short of that is a mockery of what people elected us to do. So I want to thank all of my colleagues who are here on the Boston City Council. I want to thank all of my elected officials, fellow elected officials. I want to thank all of the partners without whom we could not do this work. And I just want to thank everyone. I think it was David who was talking about how people already said, how can I help? And those are often also the people who are in need of help. Often the most compassionate people are those who are in the most need. So thank you for highlighting that. This is an unprecedented, unfortunate situation that we find ourselves, but I believe in Boston, I believe in the city, and I believe in our compassion to address this. I'm going to echo again what the mayor stated. If anyone who is in need, go to boston.gov/SNAP or call 311. I'm going to do it a little bit in Creole. Si ou beze manger ou pas manger ou pas konnen ki kote ou pou ale, ou ka ale na site boston.gov/SNAP ou ka ale 311. Et puis moun apede yo jwen manger. Merci un pile. Thank you, everyone. I have the pleasure of bringing up Brookline Town Administrator Charles Carey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. And thank you to the mayor and the whole team here, our community partners. We are partners in this. We are not islands, separate communities. We are part of the greater Massachusetts community, and we stand together against hunger, which knows no race or creed, no political persuasion, nothing, no barriers. Hunger is a silent, and it is often for people a source of shame. So we are here to say there is no shame in needing help. There is no shame in asking for help. Do not let hunger be the silent killer that it so often is. Please, all of us here are here to help you. We are here to be a part of your lives and reach out and provide that help, provide that community support wherever necessary, not just with food. We know that SNAP benefits go a long way to making other benefits important. Diapers, child care, all the other things that cascade out as a result of losing SNAP benefits are critical for us as local communities to maintain for our citizens, for our residents, when all else fails them, when the federal government fails them. And that is what we are here to do. I'm very grateful to the Brookline Community Foundation, to the Friends of the Brookline Public Health, to the Community Fridge Organization. There is a community fridge on Station Street in Brookline, right off the Green Line there. It's called Jennifer Cool Fridge. It's a very cool fridge. I strongly support the teams, the wonderful community teams that have kept that going during the pandemic and after. There are meals available at the high school for those in need. We are a Metco community. We support our underserved residents across communities, and it is critically important that we do so. I want to just add something that I think is really important to focus on towards the end of this. This is the beginning. This is not the beginning of our hunger crisis, as many have said, but it's also not the end of it. If we are fortunate enough to have a judge enjoin the federal government and demand that not only that $5.5 billion, but the other funds available be spent, and ultimately the federal government reopens, we are still facing, thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a reduction in benefits for SNAP because of draconian processes that are designed to kick people off of it. There will be fewer resources available to the people who need them most. And we must not let this crisis be the end of our response to hunger and our response against this draconian view, this idea that says that it is perverse. It's perverse, but it is a distinct ideology. It says that if we can teach people that the government will fail them, that they will come not to rely on the government. They will be learned helplessness. They will not participate in government, or they will vote against people who think the government can help them. And then there will be nothing left but oligarchs. Oligarchs for whom the law protects but does not bind, against the rest of us whom the law binds but does not protect. We are at the forefront of a sea change that needs to happen in our culture and in our communities. We need not just to say no to this moment, but we need to say yes to a better alternative future, a future that says there is inherent value in feeding the people who cannot feed themselves. There is inherent value in us helping those who cannot help themselves. It is not for us to leave them by their side. Not now, not in this moment of crisis, not in December and January and February in the depths of winter, and not ever. So I hope, as all of us work together, that we treat this as the beginning of something better. Work as if you live in the early days of a better nation. Thank you very much. I have the pleasure of introducing Cambridge City Manager Yan Huang.
Thank you so much, Chaz, and thank you, Mayor Wu, for gathering us. It does make me think back to the pandemic and just the crisis that we're facing. And I remember, I was not in this role, but I remember sitting in a conference room in the Shattuck Hospital at the very height in March of 2020. And we were sitting there thinking about how do we get more PPE? How do we get nurses and support them and staff the hospital? How do we put in place infection control protocols? And as we got through that initial phase, it became a collaboration across in Boston and Cambridge and all of our communities, the whole community coming together. And yet in this crisis, we are not going to have the support of the federal government. We are not going to have the same resources. And that's the challenge that we face. It is, I think, some of the most depressing meetings I've been in the last couple of weeks as we look forward. And yet this room fills me with so much hope that we are coming together and there is a strength in our community. I'm so grateful for the Cambridge City Council. I have councilors here with me, Councilor Sumbul Siddiqui, Councilor Jeevan Sabrina Wheeler, and Councilor Aisha Wilson, and their commitment, their passion, and their support to take action in this moment is incredible, and we are moving forward with planning for how we can respond. I think that's the question before us. How do we respond as local leaders? And thank you, Mayor Wu, for bringing us together to shine a light on what is happening in government closest to the people. And I'm so grateful for the Cambridge Community Foundation. Gita Pradhan is our president of the Cambridge Community Foundation, and Christina Turner, who is the vice president of programs and Grammy. Could you just stand up? Because the city has been supporting our food pantry network, and I want to recognize Ellen Semenoff, who is our head of human services, who's trying to hide in the back. But we have been supporting a food pantry network in Cambridge for many, many years. And the Cambridge Community Foundation 2 years ago made an investment in food security and has been bringing that pantry network together, putting resources in and thinking about how to improve coordination, strengthen the work. Really want to also acknowledge Jessica Canton from Food for Free, who's been an incredible partner in the city of Cambridge. But we've been meeting, and we didn't actually coordinate with Boston, and yet came to the same conclusion that it's in community that we need to respond. And so we announced yesterday the City of Cambridge is putting in $250,000. The Cambridge Community Foundation, which has set up an urgent needs fund, is investing $250,000, and we're going to be giving out grocery gift cards. This is not going to fill the whole gap, but it is something that we can do that will mitigate the harm. And we will be trying to support students in our schools, seniors, the disabled, with gift cards, and we'll be making an investment in our food pantry network to put more food on shelves, to strengthen the infrastructure and coordination that is supporting everybody in our community. And that is community coming together. It's the nonprofits and the organizations that are closest to the people that we are serving. It's our community foundation, it's the city, and really want to direct people. It is people in Cambridge, look for your local foundation, look to the United Way, look to your local nonprofits. And we will need that help because we don't have the resources simply at the city level to fill in for what is happening in the federal government. And I think a final thought is this is not the end by a long shot. When I look out at some of the challenges that we're facing, it isn't just SNAP, it's also funding that is coming from the federal government to serve the unhoused people in our city. It's programs that are going to support small businesses. It's services that we're offering. All of these are coming from the federal government, and we are going to need to continue to work together. And most immediately, we're going to need to work together to manage the eligibility requirements that are coming out from Washington at some point. We don't know when, but they will come out, and the purpose is to kick people off of benefits. And it will take all of us to ensure that people who are eligible and in need stay on those benefits. It'll take our pantries, our nonprofits, our schools, our housing authorities to be working with folks to fill out that paperwork to ensure that they're volunteering or meeting those work requirements and getting that paperwork in. And so I think this really is the beginning. Thank you, Mayor Wu, and we are committed to this fight with all of you. And I'm so excited to introduce Chelsea Town Manager Fidel Maltez.
Thank you, Mayor Wu, for the opportunity to shine some light on Chelsea today and allow me to speak. And thank you for your amazing leadership. The impacts of federal funding delays, of policy rollbacks, and government shutdowns are not isolated to Washington, D.C. They land in our neighborhoods, they land in Chelsea, and they land in Boston. And our local governments and the residents we serve will feel it first. Nearly 10,000 residents in Chelsea are dependent on SNAP benefits to put food on their tables. I will say it again, 10,000 Chelsea residents, 1 in 4 Chelsea residents. They are children, they are students, they are grandparents, they are residents with disabilities. They are people like me and people like you. Chelsea will not stand by idly. Our city governments cannot replace federal programs like SNAP, but what we can do and what we will do is mobilize really strong and fierce partnerships like we see today that will fill the gaps. Chelsea with Revere and Winthrop are in a very close partnership to support our residents. In Chelsea, we are working with our very close network of food pantries and our incredible nonprofits like La Colorativa. Affected Chelsea residents and those who wish to support us in Chelsea can visit chelseama.gov/food to learn more and to contribute. Chelsea and Boston and our region will not rest until all of our residents are fed. Thank you, Mayor. And it is my honor to welcome Somerville Mayor Katiana.
So good morning, everyone. It's my honor to join you here. Mayor Wu, thank you. My colleagues, my fellow electeds, our communities, we are interconnected. Our residents don't necessarily know boundaries. Yes, we go into Chelsea, we go into Boston, Medford, Brookline, Cambridge. And today, tomorrow, SNAP benefits could dry up for more than 1 million of our neighbors, as you've heard in Massachusetts, and millions more across the country. Why? Because our federal administration sees hunger as a strategy, an abstract scenario. Roughly 42 million people across the nation going hungry, so the richest nation in the world can take away health care from millions in just cold numbers game to them. Well, in Somerville, in Massachusetts, we know hunger is real. A parent choosing between feeding themselves, feeding their child is real. An adult, their funds already stretched thin by high costs of living, now staring down an empty pantry, is real. A grandmother being forced to buy the food that is cheapest instead of the food that's best for her health is real. But these are preventable with SNAP. These benefits keep our communities fed and our businesses open. They help roughly 1.1 million in Massachusetts residents be secure in the knowledge they can afford to feed themselves and their families. And that security is invaluable. But now that security is being needlessly ripped away while the White House ignores the legal and moral obligations. But we are getting to work. In Somerville, we are working closely with local partners to connect SNAP recipients with help they need using every resource we have. About 7,000 people rely on SNAP in Somerville, receiving an average of $203 per month in vital support. That's roughly $1.3 million per month just in our city, which is at stake. We may not have the financial might of the federal government to cover that gap, but we are organizing to stem the pain. We support a range of food access programs in our countries and in our community and schools, and we are working hard to bolster them, also make sure those in need know about them. Language should not be a barrier to help, so we are disseminating information on local food pantries, community fridges, and community dinners across multiple languages. Children in Somerville public schools are eligible for free breakfasts and free lunches. We are lucky to have funds from our participatory budgeting that we are using to pay Boston area gleaners to stock community fridges and to boost our food pantries. We're working closely with Food for Free and the schools to keep our school markets stocked and ready to help. Our farmers markets are relaxing the SNAP match that we fund, meaning anyone with an active SNAP card can receive the $15 in extra tokens, no swipe of their card needed. We launched a package and store-bought frozen meal drive to support especially seniors and others who rely on food supports. And we are looking at what further resources we are applying going forward and tend to work in collaboration with our City Council on that. Finally, one of the biggest resources we have is in our community. We are fortunate that our community cares, where neighbors help neighbors, and so there are many ways to help. Donate money or gift cards for your local food assistance group, bring food to the community fridges, or use your voice to raise awareness of food resources. Everything you can do can help prevent a neighbor from going hungry. I urge federal leaders to end this shutdown by extending health care subsidies and protect every American's right to food security. Simply put, we need benefits, not ballrooms. And while they delay, Somerville and our neighbors across Massachusetts will not. We'll keep stepping up to help, feed, and care for our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I know we've been here for a little bit. I want to make sure I didn't miss any other community that's represented here. Okay. Any on-topic questions for anyone up here? And I'll do off-topic.
Can you talk about what course this has put all these cities and towns, all these agencies on, and kind of it's kind of deflecting missions, and it seems like you almost have to do a complete overhaul of the social service system in the entire area.
Well, I'll leave it open to any of my colleagues who want to step in, but I think as you heard from so many of us, it's not anything new in one way. We have been doing our very best to try to plug in the gaps from the federal government for 8 months now, and even prior to that, as housing costs have been going up, it's already been a strain on every household's budget. And so all of our communities on the ground have to make it work. No matter what the policy decisions are that come down from other levels of government, we have to address families' basic needs and necessities. And so a lot of the infrastructure that we're now basically activating and highlighting to accelerate an all-hands-on-deck emergency relief drive are only in place because of the collaboration day-to-day to address these challenges that have been in place for some time. Sorry, just on this one, anyone else want to
And also, is
jump
it
in on this?
extra costs? I mean, just a response.
Yes.
I can say for the Greater Boston Food Bank, we're doing what we do every day. So we are in the middle of Thanksgiving, and we are not cutting back on any of the opportunity to feed our neighbors for such an important holiday that will be, it's just around the corner. We are just asking our team to work more. We are asking for more food donations, more volunteers, more financial donations, but we are doing what we do every day. We are shipping produce, protein, and dairy because the 600 member agencies in the 190 cities and towns are asking us to do that. So we are just, and we will continue until hunger is at bay. So for us, it's business as usual, just more of what we were doing during the pandemic. So we did take that playbook, brush it off, and say, what can we do to help feed those in need?
Mayor, it sounds like what most communities are doing is mobilizing resources. Is the City of Boston or any of the other communities here using your own funds to purchase food?
Yep, so the partnership that we announced in Boston with the Boston Foundation, that $1 million includes, it's basically a half and half seeding split from City of Boston funds that were already allocated for food access that we have accelerated and we are advancing and making available for this purpose, and a very generous seeding from the Boston Foundation. And then on top of that, as you heard from Lee Pelton, additional donations have already come in to be able to go out to all of these amazing organizations doing that work, providing the direct assistance, increasing the food that's available, and trying our very best to be prepared for the gap that will come.
So you're accelerating funding, but not additional.
Yes, in terms of this $500,000, it was already pre-existing allocated funding that was with our Office of Food Justice, and shout out to the incredible Eliza Wasserman, who's the director of that office here in the city. Yeah. And I'll just add one point on this, which relates to the previous question as well. Even though we are doing things that we know how to do and that we have systems in place to do, the extraordinary urgency to meet incredible need right now in this moment, and the accelerating and pulling of every possible dollar and stretching it does require certain trade-offs. And our residents know that Boston has been making incredible progress on so many fronts, from youth summer jobs and safety and childcare expansion to literacy and reducing absenteeism. We're now asking all of our agencies to continue doing that work to move us forward and plug in the gaps so that we're not being pushed backward. So it is a superhuman effort that our community organizations, city agencies, and partners out throughout our neighborhoods are doing. We are, at the city level, at the local level, have no choice, always have to walk the walk and can't stay in the realm of just saying the words, but it is an extraordinary strain on resources, and we are doing everything we can to find more resources, and thank everyone in our community for supporting.
Well, Mayor, could I ask a question?
I want to make sure everyone, we'll get to you in a minute.
Just quickly, I would say, I mean, similar to Boston, we recognize that there's a lot of uncertainty about even the funding that we're putting out currently that may not get reimbursed by the federal government. Earlier this year, the Cambridge City Council appropriated $5 million into a federal stabilization fund, and so we sort of saw a lot of this coming and said, we know there's going to be needs, and we know there's going to be cuts, and so we have, you know, in this moment, pulled money out of that fund. So we've already appropriated, but it's new money that the city is committing into this initiative, just recognizing that we're hitting this cliff and we need to get resources out. And it's going to be no regrets. You know, if there is some sort of last-minute funding or if the government reopens quickly, we know that there has been need before and that there's growing need because of continued cuts. But we're putting in, from the City of Cambridge, $250,000. The Cambridge Community Foundation has a similar urgent needs fund that a lot of people have opened up and given to, and the foundation is committing $250,000. That's new money. But I would just say, I think one of the things that I've seen as we have conversations across Metro mayors, not every city has those resources. And so some of our larger communities, if you think about Cambridge, Boston, I know Worcester announced something very similar. They're putting in $250,000 of city funding. but not all of our communities, and communities that have just as much, if more need, don't have those kinds of resources available. And so I think that is why the work that the United Way is doing and any help that can come from the state is so important, because otherwise we're going to see these pockets where some cities can respond at the local level and other cities can't.
So thank you. In Somerville, we are spending down money that has been appropriated. The spend down is quicker than we are anticipating, so we're getting all those numbers together, and there will be an appropriation going forward in order to fill those gaps. And then there is, parent groups, PTAs, the community is stepping in also and doing the fundraising to buy food cars. So there's other money coming in besides municipal money. Thank you.
Well, Mayor, the state has more money than the city do. Would you suggest that the governor tap the rainy day fund? So far, she's declined to do that.
We so appreciate the partnership at the state level, and the statewide focus through the United Way drive and the good that that's already doing is going to go a long way, and we're intending to complement and supplement those efforts. If we just do the calculation city by city, you start to get a sense of how big that gap is. In Boston, those 140,000 residents, 92,000 households, is $30 million a month spent in grocery stores and for food in our businesses, just from the SNAP benefits that we, as we heard, are already not enough to keep families fed. So the sheer gap that needs to be filled is something that only the federal government can fill, and we're doing our best to try to provide some emergency relief while we can.
Last question.
This partnership with the Boston Foundation, this $1 million gift, how long is this expected to last? In other words, you're saying such a huge gap. How much are you stretch the $1 million?
I will. We hope to reach several $1 million in a reserve fund that's available, and to get that out through our partners, because they know best how to directly reach the families with dignity and with support in the way that they are already connected to city services and other programming. This is not going to be a fix or a solution, and we're hoping that our federal government can begin to function again. We don't have much control over that piece of it, and we're going to do everything we can to fill in some of the supports that our residents need in the meantime.
Mayor, the federal judge said that she'd have a decision yesterday. Any concern that it's taking longer? What do you read into that?
Hope it comes today or as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.